Hello, my friends. Today, we're covering something most gardeners have never seriously considered. It's an organic acid. It's simple. It's been used for centuries. And modern gardening mostly ignores it. Not because it's unsafe, but because it doesn't fit into a product line that can be patented, packaged, and controlled. Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at your garden and thought it just seemed tired? You water regularly. You fertilize. You follow the instructions. Yet your plants stay pale, slow-growing, and weak. The soil feels lifeless. Your soil isn't dead. It's depleted. For about 50 years, we've focused on visible problems, yellow leaves, thin stems, instead of the root cause. The soil has lost its charge. Today, I'm going to show you how to restore that charge. We'll talk about wood vinegar, also called pyrolignis acid, a liquid used widely in parts of Asia to activate soil biology, but often dismissed in the West. I'll also explain how to make a mild biological soil booster at home using scraps and sugar. And later, I'll break down a popular natural weed killer recipe that damages soil long-term, leaving it compacted and lifeless. There's a clear difference between feeding soil life and slowly destroying it. So settle in and let's get practical. This isn't something you'll see advertised at a garden center, but you can use it immediately. The soil battery, the real issue. Before we talk solutions, we need to define the problem clearly. If your plants still look underfed after you've fertilized and watered properly, the issue likely isn't lack of nutrients. It's access. Think of your soil like a vault. Inside are essential nutrients: phosphorus, iron, calcium, magnesium. But the vault is locked. You can add fertilizer on top, but if nutrients are chemically bound, roots can't access them. It's controlled mainly by soil, pH, and cation exchange capacity, CEC. Ignore the terminology for a second. CEC is simply your soil's storage capacity. Sandy soil stores very little. Clay and organic-rich soil store more. Healthy soil holds nutrients and releases them when roots need them. But heavy use of synthetic fertilizers, loss of organic matter, and lack of compost reduce that storage capacity over time. When that happens, nutrients bind tightly to other elements and become unavailable. Phosphorus is a good example. When soil chemistry shifts out of balance, phosphorus bonds with calcium or aluminum. Once bound, plant roots can't break it free. So, plants show deficiency symptoms, yellowing, stunted growth. Not because nutrients aren't present, but because they're chemically locked away. Most gardeners respond by adding more fertilizer. That increases dependency but doesn't fix availability. More input, less efficiency. The problem isn't effort, it's approach. Now, here's the important question. What if you didn't need more nutrients? What if you needed something that unlocked the nutrients already there? What if your soil isn't empty, just inactive? There is a natural liquid that can help loosen those chemical bonds and stimulate soil biology. It's been used traditionally for centuries. It's difficult to standardize, hard to patent, and doesn't fit cleanly into modern product systems. But it works. Before we go further, understand this. Your soil isn't ruined. It isn't sterile. It isn't beyond recovery. It's locked. And unlocking it is simpler than you've been led to believe. The forbidden liquid. Wood vinegar. Now that we understand the lock, let's talk about the key. Wood vinegar. One of the oldest and most overlooked tools in soil management. A liquid like this has been used quietly for centuries, from ancient Egypt to traditional Chinese farms. Yet in the West, It rarely gets a straight label because it doesn't fit into tidy commercial categories. It's called wood vinegar, also known as pyroligneous acid. So, what is it, really? In simple terms, it's condensed forest. When wood is heated to make charcoal, smoke rises. If that smoke is cooled and captured, it turns into a reddish-brown liquid that smells like a campfire on a cool morning. That liquid is wood vinegar. And despite how simple it looks, it's not dirty runoff. It's made up of more than 200 organic compounds, acids, phenols, ketones, alcohols, all working together in a mix no lab has fully duplicated. It's natural complexity at work, and used correctly, it's powerful. First, it acts as a gentle chelator. Remember the locked vault of nutrients. The organic acids in wood vinegar grab onto minerals like iron, calcium, and magnesium, and keep them from binding up again. Instead of turning into unusable solids, those nutrients stay available to plant roots. Research has shown that applying wood vinegar can significantly increase the availability of phosphorus in soil. It doesn't create nutrients. It frees the ones already present. Second, it stimulates soil biology. When diluted heavily, around 1 part vinegar to 300 parts water, it encourages beneficial bacteria and fungi to become active again. It's a nudge, not a shock, but concentration matters. At high strength, wood vinegar can damage plants, suppress microbes, and act more like a herbicide. That's where its forbidden reputation comes from. It's not hidden. It just requires respect and proper dilution. There's also a commercial challenge. Wood vinegar isn't identical from batch to batch. Its composition changes depending on wood type and burn temperature. Modern agriculture prefers uniform, patentable products. You can't patent smoke, and you can't standardize a forest. Improper homemade versions can also contain tar residues, which is why beginners shouldn't attempt backyard distillation without proper training. The properly refined and filtered product is what gardeners should use. When handled correctly, wood vinegar promotes stronger roots, improves fruit quality, increases plant resilience, and helps deter pests like mites and aphids, all without synthetic chemicals. That's why it remains valued across Asia. In skilled hands, it's not forbidden. It's indispensable. But if refined wood vinegar isn't accessible to you, or you prefer a fully homemade approach, there's another option. And this one starts in your kitchen. The Kitchen Revolution. Ecoenzymes and fermented plant juice. You might be thinking, I don't have a charcoal kiln. You don't need one. This next soil booster doesn't use fire. It uses fermentation. The idea comes from Korean natural farming, and it starts with something most of us throw away: kitchen scraps. All you need is 1 part sugar, 3 parts fresh plant scraps, peels and trimmings, 10 parts water. That's the formula. Put it in a plastic container, never glass, because fermentation creates pressure. Let it sit about 90 days. During that time, microbes break everything down. They release enzymes and gentle organic acids that help activate soil life. When it's done, you're left with a concentrated liquid, not trash, a soil stimulant. Diluted properly, it speeds up compost, improves nutrient availability, and can even suppress certain soil pathogens. Korean natural farming also uses fermented plant juice, or FPJ. You take tender growing tips from fast plants, mix them with brown sugar, and let osmosis pull out their natural juices. The result is rich in plant hormones and growth regulators. Used diluted, it supports soil microbes and helps stressed plants recover. No synthetic inputs, No store-bought dependency, just biology. But before we talk more about building soil, we need to address a mistake many gardeners make, because some natural solutions quietly damage soil for years. The dangerous lie, the salt and vinegar myth. There's a homemade weed killer recipe spreading online: vinegar, salt, and dish soap. It's labeled safe and natural. It isn't. Yes, vinegar burns leaves. Strong horticultural vinegar can even burn skin and eyes. But vinegar isn't the main problem. Salt is. Salt doesn't disappear. It builds up in soil. It blocks water uptake, disrupts minerals, damages microbes, and ruins soil structure. Weeds die. So does everything else. Salt can sterilize soil for years, and dish detergents often contain chemicals that harm earthworms and beneficial microbes, the very organisms that keep soil functioning. This mix doesn't improve soil, it drains it. Diluted biological solutions stimulate life. Salt and strong vinegar strip it away. There are better ways to control weeds. Mulch heavily. Use cardboard. Smother them. Pull them when soil is moist. Those methods protect the ground you're trying to improve. Don't trade long-term soil health for a short-term fix. Now that we've cleared that up, we can focus on the real goal: how to recharge the soil battery the right way. The solution: charging the soil battery. We've cleared away the myths. Now we focus on results. Having wood vinegar or a homemade eco-enzyme is just step one. The real results come from how you apply them. Because the goal isn't a miracle cure. It's about building a stronger soil battery. Soil health improves when its ability to hold, exchange, and deliver nutrients increases. That's cation exchange capacity. When we build organic matter, support soil structure, and encourage microbial life, that capacity grows. And when that capacity grows, plants stop barely surviving and start growing vigorously. So, where do we start? With restraint. Wood vinegar, eco-enzymes, fermented plant juice, they all work. But they only work when used correctly. The rule is simple. Dilution is the solution. Never apply these liquids full strength. Never spray them undiluted on leaves. Treat them as concentrates. You're signaling soil microbes, not shocking them. Most gardeners use a dilution around 1 to 300. Sometimes even 1 to 1,000. That small amount is enough to stimulate biology without disrupting balance. Think gentle activation, not force. Once diluted, we can take it further using one of the most effective soil tools available: biochar. Biochar is charcoal processed for soil use. Under a microscope, it's full of pores and cavities. Those pores create enormous surface area. When you soak biochar in diluted wood vinegar or eco-enzyme, it absorbs minerals, organic acids, enzymes, and microbes. You're not just adding nutrients. You're charging a storage system. When that soaked biochar is added to soil, it acts like a long-term reservoir. It gives microbes shelter. It holds nutrients in place. It improves moisture balance. And it releases those stored resources slowly, sometimes for years. That's how you rebuild the battery. Not with force. With biology, structure, and patience. Biochar has been used for thousands of years. It's not new. But when you combine it with diluted wood vinegar or fermented liquids, it becomes far more effective. And soil treatment isn't your only option. You can also spray diluted solutions on the leaves. A light foliar spray lets plants absorb small amounts of nutrients directly. If roots are struggling because nutrients are locked in the soil, this gives the plant short-term support. Leaves green up. Growth stabilizes. It buys time while the soil improves. But one principle matters most: Consistency. Soil is alive, and living systems recover gradually. This isn't a one-time fix. It's steady care. Small, regular doses of diluted biological liquids, a little charged biochar each season, occasional foliar sprays during stress. Over time, you'll see the shift. Greener leaves, softer soil, better water absorption, stronger plants. Not forced growth, supported growth. That's soil charging. Why it's called forbidden. It's not illegal. It's not dangerous. It's called forbidden because it gives control back to you. When you learn to make fertilizer from scraps, when weeds become compost, when soil becomes a living partner instead of a chemical system, you stop depending on products. For years, we've been taught to think in NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, as if soil were just numbers. But soil works through biology. Enzymes release nutrients, microbes cycle minerals, fungi connect roots underground. Wood vinegar and fermented plant liquids don't add magic. They reconnect natural processes. Some farming systems, like J-Dam from Korean natural farming, are built on this idea. Soil already has what plants need. The job is to unlock it, not overpower it. That makes sense to me. Shortcuts fail. Steady systems last. Healthy soil comes from what we build into it over time. When you work this way, you're not just gardening. You're practicing stewardship. Conclusion. Your legacy. Before we finish, take a moment. Go outside if you can. Touch your soil. Is it compacted, dry, weak, or just dormant? If it needs help, don't panic. You now understand the problem, and you know how to begin fixing it.